The English are known for their classic catchphrases,
awkward confrontations, and confusing characteristics.
Here's 50 of the most British things ever.
Let's go!
Kerry and Berry.
Hey, Kerry and Berry! I'm Kerry.
And I'm Berry. Let us know a classic trait that is relevant in your country in the comments below before we begin.
Every country has their own traditions, right?
But more often than not, we don't even know we're doing it.
Nope. Let's fix that by exposing ours.
Here's what makes Great Britain great Britain. Really wasn't that funny, to be honest.
Let's start off with number 50.
Going down to our favourites at number 1. A big thanks to NordVPN, the sponsors of this video. Protect your online privacy from snooping eyes today by going to nordvpn.com/KerryBerry. Someone complimenting you and you don't know how to respond, so you actually end up wishing they hadn't complimented you at all because it's made the whole conversation incredibly awkward, and now you've got a reputation to hold up. The British hate compliments.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. I don't think the British say that.
He's a well-known British actor.
Starring in just about everything you could possibly think of.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Marmite. You put it on toast.
See if you love it.
Oh yeah, hate
you
it. Hey, what are you going to say? You're going to say something else.
The tube train is how you travel through London City. Underground.
Going underground. Fish and chip. The classic meal that every English person
Especially
has.
at the beach.
Especially at the beach. And
on a Friday night.
Oh yeah. Fish and chips.
Cricket. Very British sport indeed.
Salt and vinegar. It's the flavour everybody loves on just about everything. Crisp chips. On your finger. Pick it
How's
up.
all your portion of chips? Football! We're coming home, it's coming. Got to be the nation's favourite sport. That when we all come together, football.
The outside goodbye. When you've got a guest over and you come to the end of the evening and you say goodbye inside for half an hour. It's so nice to see you. See them to the door. And then they go outside and they walk to the car. But when you're outside, you carry on talking for another half an hour.
Rushing home when the street lights come on. Kids are rushing home for their tea. That's when they know it's time to go. Stupid one.
No, it's classic old English. Right? When you're walking down the road and you come to a crossing and the car stops for you at the crossing, but you weren't going to cross that crossing, but you feel really awkward because they've stopped for you. So you've got to cross the road to go across the crossing, and when they're out of sight, you've got to recross the road to go back to where you were.
Bangers and mash. If you're a EastEnders fan, then you know Jean likes her bangers and smash surprise. What do they call it? Sausage surprise. The classic English dinner. Sausage surprise.
Asking somebody, so how are you doing in yourself? When they have asked you, how are you doing? And you say, I'm doing good, thanks. So then you have to ask them how they're doing in themselves. Good girl, Vanessa. Because they'll always give the polite fake answer first.
A full English breakfast. Your bangers, your bacon, your toast, your egg, or vegetarian, you know.
You just have a proper good dinner for your breakfast.
Ooh, sometimes the smell of it makes me sick though.
That half polite wave you give when somebody stops their car whilst you're crossing the road, and you give a half wave because you're feeling a bit awkward for them stopping for you, it results in the double wave. You wave thanks and they wave back, and then you wave back again for them saying thanks for waving, and I'm saying thanks for acknowledging my wave for you waving back.
Apologising for everything. For example, you're very ill and you're like, oh, so sorry to hear about that. And it's like, well, why are you saying sorry? It's not your fault I'm ill.
That's what you think. Twining's tea. Classic herbal / normal
Twing.
tea that everyone in England thinks are so posh.
But not everyone drinks
But it's
it.
not that nice after all.
Giving an over-the-top smile to an old person to just say, yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to mug you.
Big Ben, that iconic plate thing in London.
Pantomime. Woohoo! here he is. There she is, behind you.
Stonehenge. It's a load of stones in England. Nobody knows how it got there.
Do people dance around it?
Yes, they do.
Emmerdale, a very popular soap, or one of the top 4 recurring drama. Yeah, it's very too modern for anyone's liking. It used to be very traditional and old.
The awkward silence in tube trains or elevators and stuff like that. You just stand there and everyone's looking at each other like, awkward. Having
a pint in the pub. Very British.
How many are you drinking? Trying to be polite being polite in a queue in the shop, not knowing where the queue began or started, and trying to smile and partly ask people, are you in the queue?
Conversations about how the weather is going. The conversation we have when we have nothing else to say.
Giving a friendly wave to an oncoming car if you're in a passing place.
Those are English sayings. Bob's your uncle. What's the other one? Full of beans and gallivanting.
When you're on the phone and you can't stop walking around. Can't help it. You just can't, can you?
London.
What was the move about? Morris dancing.
Oh.
I don't understand it, but people dance around and put things on their legs and it feels traditional.
I thought you were going to say Morrison's. Morrison.
Why does she keep imitating me?
James Bond, License to Kill. They had so many films out, it's unbelievable.
Bond never gets older, even though he's been played by about 10 different actors.
Yeah.
Over
Be a
the
new
course of,
actor
like, 50
soon.
years, isn't it?
Daniel Craig is leaving.
The two extremes when you're in public. The need to impress people by dressing up to the nines to go downtown to your local shop.
That's what they have these days.
And those people who go out in their dressing gown and pyjamas. And don't we know a couple of people like that, Kerry? Yeah, we do.
Council estates, where the heart begins.
That's awkward silence when you end up repeating the same conversation that you've just had with somebody 2 minutes before and you're just like
Small talk.
It's not that you repeat. It's
Yeah, it's because we were talking about the weather, about small talk, and this is small talk.
just the generic small talk, whereas that was more defined. Being assertive and then freaking out because you've been assertive. You practice for ages to stand your ground, and when you do, you feel bad because you've offended the other person. Well, I certainly do anyway. So then you just end up changing the conversation or getting right out of there. I gotta go.
Putting anything in a sandwich. If you can eat it, it can go in the sandwich. Chips,
Fish.
crisp,
Fish.
fish.
Some people do, Kerry.
Banana, jam, you.
Jam, of course, you put jam in a
Not
sandwich.
necessarily. People put jam in a toast.
When you open a door for somebody and they smile at you, like, thank you so much for doing such a lovely thing, and you're feeling all good about yourself, and then they're still looking at you smiling and you smile back because you're trying to acknowledge that I'm grateful that you smiled at me, and things are getting really awkward to the point where you end up wishing you come across as a bad person instead because you can't cope with this pressure, your head's getting all big.
I don't really get that, Liam.
I do. I always get that. I feel awkward and I think, why could I just not have been a nasty person, and then I wouldn't feel so awkward about being nice.
Sitting in a room with someone, and the moment you say hi, the awkward silence soon approaches. But up to that point, the awkward silence hasn't begun. So you sit there in silence, pretending to be rude.
Buying unnecessary things because it's on offer. And you don't need it, but you get it anyway because it's a good deal.
Blackpool Tower! One of the famous favourite location in Britain. British Britons.
Huh? Lack of value in your own opinions that you feel like you've got to justify them or apologise for having those opinions all the time.
Scouts and brownies. I'm sure most of you were in little groups like that when you were younger.
If you're in Britain, but if not, they probably weren't.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There you go. That awkward smile when you meet somebody in the street. Similar to old people, but they're not necessarily old.
Hedgehogs in the garden, that is a popular one. Yeah, there is quite a lot of guests around.
A cup of traditional English tea. Can't get much more English than a cup of tea.
Yeah, you can't forget the British. Cup of tea. Rain. It rains a lot in Britain.
That awkward trying to end a conversation moment where there's no real way to end it and you just stood there hoping the conversation's going to end and you need to go, but somebody you're talking to just giving you that pause to say, I need to go. So you make yourself late. You cause all sorts of problems just because you didn't want to end the conversation badly.
Moaning about how the day is going when someone asks you, because if you were to answer it's fantastic, it would be a bit weird. You always have to give a negative response in England. English traits. It's what makes the British.
Comment below our keyword, which is Britain. Put it into a sentence and you could be our next pop-up shout out. How exciting would that be? Quite excited. And also, can I just say, if you have not joined NordVPN yet, you need to do so, and you need to do so with our link. Very special link, this one.
It's going to be down below.
It's right below, and it's also in the description box. This is amazing. This is how you will secure your internet activity. I'm not saying that in a weird way. I'm trying to say that who knows who could be hacking and spying into. The point is, you should never feel like your privacy is at stake. We highly advise NordVPN because it is it's the best. Get NordVPN whilst it's on an amazing offer. Hurry up! Each culture has their varying catchphrases and their fun things they like to do, their ways of life, their food they like to eat. You know, this is what makes us, and we all have our differences, and without them, we would be all pretty boring, wouldn't we? So think about what yours are.
Yeah, just remember those English traits and maybe think of a new one.
A new English trait.
Yeah. Carry on to generation after generation.
You really have nothing to say though, do you? Take care, and God bless you all. I wish someone would take your trait.
Do you want to say something?
What?
Welcome to YouTube time. I think I don't love you. They're astoundingly astonishing, and strikingly bewildering. It's Carrie and Barry. A big baby, E, F, J, K, T, O,